Fatima and Elgin are hiding something inside Colony House, and if you miss this detail, you're not just behind, you're missing what could be the most dangerous shift in From so far. Because this isn't just about trauma anymore. This isn't just about survival. What they're doing in secret might be the first time we've seen characters actively participate in the rules of the town, instead of just reacting to them. And if that's true, then this changes everything. Before we break down the deeper implications, let's quickly anchor what's actually happening. After everything that went down in the cellar, the psychological manipulation, the birth of Smiley, and the shared trauma that neither of them can fully process, Fatima and Elgin finally interact again inside Colony House. But instead of avoiding each other, something unexpected happens. They talk, calmly. Elgin suggests they align their stories so no one, especially Boyd, finds out what really happened. Fatima agrees, but instead of focusing on the lie, she shifts the conversation toward his mental state. On the surface, it feels like empathy, but underneath, it feels like something else: stabilization, control. Like she needs him focused because they're about to do something that requires both of them. And then we see it. Elgin carrying dirt into the house, not once, but repeatedly, stacking it inside a room while Fatima insists they're going to need even more. That's not random. That's not grief. That's a plan. And in a show like From, plans built in secret are never harmless. Now here's where most people underestimate what they're seeing. It's easy to dismiss this as just another weird detail in a show full of weird details. But From doesn't operate like that. Every strange action is usually tied to a rule we don't fully understand yet. And when multiple red flags stack on top of each other, trauma, secrecy, alignment of stories, and now physical preparation, you're not looking at coincidence anymore. You're looking at intent. So the real question isn't, why are they collecting dirt? The real question is, what are they trying to recreate? Because the strongest and most consistent interpretation is this: Fatima is acting on something she saw, something she experienced after giving birth to Smiley. And if you've been paying attention, you already know that visions in From are never meaningless. They're not random hallucinations. They're instructions, patterns, sometimes even warnings disguised as chaos, which means whatever she's doing now started before this scene. And that's where things get uncomfortable. Because if Fatima is recreating something from her visions, then she's no longer just reacting to the town, she's following it. Think about what that implies. Her body was already used once as a vessel for something unnatural. That alone puts her in a completely different category from everyone else. She's not just another survivor trying to make sense of things. She's someone who has already been part of the town's deeper mechanics, whether she wanted to or not. That kind of experience doesn't just traumatize you. It changes how you think, how you perceive reality, what you're willing to do next. And now she's acting with purpose. In fact, it might be necessary. Now here's where the theory splits, and you need to pay attention because this is where most people oversimplify it. One possibility is that Fatima is trying to recreate a ritual, not necessarily to create something new, but to understand or control what already happened to her. This would explain the secrecy, the precision, and the insistence on getting it right. If she saw something during that experience, some kind of pattern or process, then this could be her attempt to rebuild it piece by piece. Not because she wants to, but because she feels like she has to. But there's a second possibility, and it's much darker. What if they're not just recreating something? What if they're building something? This is where the vessel theory comes in, the idea that Fatima and Elgin might be constructing a physical form using dirt, something that can hold or attract whatever force operates within the town. It sounds extreme, but it actually fits the logic we've already seen. This place doesn't create things out of nothing. It uses people, spaces, conditions. It requires a process. So if a new entity were to emerge, it would likely need a foundation. And what better foundation than Earth itself? If that's the case, then Elgin's role becomes a lot more significant. Because he's not just helping her cope, he's actively participating in whatever this is, carrying the material, following her lead, and possibly not fully understanding what he's helping to bring into existence. But there's another layer to this that ties directly into the idea of sacrifice and survival. Some interpretations suggest that Fatima may have learned something during her experience that she hasn't shared with anyone. Not Boyd, not Donna, not anyone. Specifically, that the town operates on a system of exchange, that everything comes at a cost, that survival isn't free, it's negotiated. And if that's true, then the dirt might not just be part of a creation process. It might be preparation for burial, for rebirth, for something that needs to be placed into the ground in order for something else to come out. Now think about that carefully, because if Fatima is acting on that kind of knowledge, then her secrecy isn't just understandable, it's necessary. Boyd represents structure, authority, and control. If he finds out what they're doing, he's going to shut it down immediately, not because he understands it, but because he doesn't trust anything that resembles the town's logic. And that creates tension, because now you have two sides forming, one side trying to survive by resisting the town, and the other side, whether intentionally or not, starting to work with it. And that's where this storyline becomes dangerous, because history in From shows that once characters start engaging with the town's rules, they don't stay in control for long. There's also the psychological angle, and you can't ignore it. Both Fatima and Elgin have been manipulated in ways that go beyond normal trauma. Their bodies and minds have been used, altered, pushed to a point where reality itself becomes unstable, and in that state, influence becomes easier. Not direct control, but suggestion, guidance, the feeling that what you're doing makes sense even when it doesn't. So when you look at Fatima now, calm, focused, and determined, you have to ask, is this really her? Or is this what the town wants her to become? And Elgin, he might be the perfect accomplice, vulnerable, uncertain, and desperate for stability, the kind of person who would follow a plan even if he doesn't fully believe in it. There's also a visual connection that shouldn't be ignored. The appearance of scarecrow-like figures in teasers and imagery suggests that structures made from earth might serve a purpose, either as protection, warning systems, or even containers. And if Fatima and Elgin are building something similar, then this could be the origin point of those objects, not random designs, but deliberate constructions tied to the town's deeper system. And if that's true, then what they're doing isn't just experimental, it's foundational. So when you step back and look at everything, the secrecy, the dirt, the shared trauma, the alignment of stories, and the growing sense that something is being built, you start to see a pattern. This isn't just a subplot, this is a shift, a transition from reaction to participation. And that's what makes it so unsettling. Because once characters stop reacting to the town and start working within its rules, they stop being victims. They become part of the system. And that's a line that's almost impossible to come back from. The most important thing to understand here is that this isn't about one theory being right. It's about what all these theories point towards, whether it's a ritual, a construction, a defense mechanism, or something even darker. They all lead to the same conclusion. Fatima is not trying to escape the town anymore. She's trying to understand it. And in a place like this, that might be the most dangerous decision anyone can make, because understanding the system doesn't free you from it. It pulls you deeper inside. So the next time you see Elgin carrying dirt into that room, don't ignore it. Don't brush it off as another strange detail. That's the beginning of something quiet, something controlled, something that doesn't look dangerous until it's too late. And if this theory is even partially true, then what Fatima and Elgin are building isn't just a secret, it's the next stage of the town itself.